Ethan had grease on his hands, a smudge across his cheek, and a calm smile that could ease any tension. He was the kind of man who spoke little but meant everything he said. Every morning before the sun fully rose, he opened the doors of his small-town garage, where he worked long hours fixing engines, replacing tires, and keeping people on the road. But what most didn't know was that Ethan worked not just to make a living. He worked to build a future for the little girl who waited for him every day after school. His daughter, Lily was 7, all curls, laughter, and wonder. She was Ethan's world, and he was hers. She often sat on a wooden stool by the corner of the shop, drawing pictures of cars and princesses while her dad worked. Sometimes she hummed songs, and sometimes she talked to customers, melting even the toughest hearts with her kindness. Ethan would look at her and think, if love had a face, it would be hers. That Friday afternoon, the sky hung heavy with the promise of rain. Ethan was about to close up when he heard the sound of a car struggling to pull into the lot, the kind of sputtering that spoke of worn spark plugs and forgotten oil changes. He wiped his hands on his rag and walked out to see an old silver sedan, smoke curling from under the hood. Inside sat a woman, her face hidden behind worry and fatigue. She stepped out slowly, maybe in her late 20s, wearing a faded cardigan and jeans. There was something in her eyes that struck Ethan, a quiet sadness, the kind that comes from too many days of trying and too few of resting. "I think she's about to die," she said softly, patting the hood. "The car, I mean, not me, though it's been that kind of week." Ethan chuckled. "Let's hope neither of you give up today." She smiled faintly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I'm Rachel." "Ethan," he said, shaking her hand. "Let's take a look." As he opened the hood, the rain began to drizzle. He motioned her to wait inside the car while he worked. Lily peeked from the garage door, clutching her sketchbook. "Daddy, do you need help?" She called. "Not today, sweetheart," Ethan said, giving her a wink. "Just a small fix." But it wasn't small. The car needed more than a tune-up. It needed parts, labor, time. Still, Ethan worked quietly, his hands steady, his heart strangely heavy. He didn't know why, but something about the way Rachel sat in that car, watching the raindrops race down the windshield, stirred something deep inside him. After an hour, he walked to her window and leaned down. "You're good to go," he said. Her eyes widened. "That fast? What do I owe you?" Ethan shook his head. "Nothing. It was a small fix." She frowned. "That didn't look small," he smiled. "Let's just call it a neighborly favor." She opened her mouth to argue, but before she could, Lily ran up to her father, tugging on his sleeve. "Daddy, Daddy!" "She's really pretty, like the ladies in the movies." Rachel laughed, the sound light but surprised. "You must be Lily." The little girl nodded. "Yep, I'm 7, and my daddy fixes everything." Then she leaned closer, whispering just loud enough for her dad to hear, except maybe his heart. Ethan's face flushed red. Rachel looked down, smiling awkwardly. "Smart kid." "She gets that from her mother," Ethan said softly, almost to himself. Rachel's smile faded slightly, sensing the ache behind his words. She didn't press. Some silences are meant to be respected. Instead, she thanked him again, got into her car, and drove off into the rainy evening. But as fate would have it, that wasn't the last time Ethan saw her. 2 days later, on a Sunday morning, Rachel returned, this time not for a repair, but to say thank you. She held a small paper bag in her hands. "I baked these," she said, offering it to him. "Cookies." "It's not much, but I wanted to do something." Ethan took the bag, smiling. "You didn't have to." "I know," she said softly. "But sometimes kindness deserves kindness back." Lily ran out again, this time holding a crayon drawing. It was of a woman, a man, and a little girl holding hands. "This is us," she said proudly. Rachel's breath caught. "Us? Yep." Lily beamed. "You, Daddy, and me." Ethan laughed nervously. "Lily has quite an imagination." Rachel smiled, but something about the drawing touched her deeply. "She's a sweet girl," she said quietly. "She's my whole world," Ethan replied, looking at his daughter like she was sunlight in human form. Over the next few weeks, Rachel's visits became more frequent. Sometimes her car made excuses to break down. Sometimes she just stopped by with muffins or stories. She and Ethan talked, about small things at first, weather, work, the town. Then about bigger things, loss, dreams, loneliness. She told him about how she'd lost her job at the school cafeteria and was trying to find stability again. He told her how he'd lost his wife 3 years ago in a car accident. The same day, he'd decided never to let Lily see him cry again. And slowly, gently, something began to grow between them. Not the fiery spark of romance, but the quiet warmth of two hearts healing side by side. One evening, after closing time, Rachel and Lily were sitting at a picnic table outside the garage. Lily was eating ice cream, her cheeks sticky and bright. Rachel was watching her with a soft smile, and Ethan was cleaning up his tools when Lily suddenly tugged on Rachel's sleeve. "Miss Rachel." "Yes, sweetie." Lily looked around to make sure her dad wasn't too close, then leaned in and whispered, "You should marry my daddy." Rachel's eyes widened. "Oh, honey." "He's lonely," Lily said, her voice small but serious. "He smiles a lot, but when he looks at the stars, I think he misses Mommy. But if you were here, maybe he wouldn't be sad anymore."